She found him dying in the snow on Christmas Eve. Teresa almost missed him in the blizzard. The snow was coming down so hard she could barely see 3 feet ahead. She was just trying to finish her last delivery. One more package, one more $20 closer to making rent. Then she saw the blood. Dark red, spreading fast across the white snow. A man slumped against a brick wall, his expensive black suit torn and soaked. His head was tilted back, eyes half closed, skin pale as death. But that's not what made her freeze. It was the babies. 2 tiny newborns, wrapped in white blankets, cradled in his arms against his chest. They were crying, thin, desperate wails that pierced through the howling wind. The man's arms were locked around them, holding them tight even as he was dying, protecting them with his last bit of strength. Teresa stood there, her delivery box forgotten in her hands, snow piling on her shoulders. This man was clearly dangerous. The expensive suit, the tattoos creeping up his neck, the way even half-dead his jaw was set like he was ready to fight. Everything about him screamed stay away. But those babies. God, those babies wouldn't stop crying. And the blood, so much blood pooling beneath him, melting the snow into pink slush. He had maybe 10 minutes before he bled out. On Christmas Eve, alone in the snow with 2 helpless infants. Teresa had watched someone die once before because she was too scared to act. She still woke up screaming from those nightmares. "Hey," she called out, moving closer. "Can you hear me? I know first aid. I can help." His eyes snapped open. Dark. Sharp. Dangerous. Even dying, he looked at her like a predator. His grip tightened on the babies. "Please," Teresa said, hands up, voice shaking. "The babies. You're bleeding. Let me help." He tried to speak. His mouth moved, but only a rasp came out. Then his eyes rolled back and his body went limp, slumping sideways. The babies started sliding from his arms. Teresa dropped her package and lunged forward. She caught both infants before they hit the frozen, blood-stained ground. They were so small, so light, still screaming against her chest. That's when she saw it, a deep stab wound in the man's side, just below his ribs. Still bleeding. The kind of wound that kills you in minutes. Teresa's pre-med training kicked in before her brain could catch up. She looked around. The industrial street was completely empty. No cars. No people. Just abandoned warehouses with broken windows and that one flickering streetlight half a block away. Everyone with sense was home with their families tonight, drinking hot chocolate and opening presents. Everyone except her. And this dying man. And these babies. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, think." She couldn't call 911. Even if an ambulance came, this man would be dead before they arrived. And something about this whole situation, the expensive suit, the tattoos, the way he'd been protecting those babies like someone was hunting them, told her the police would make things worse, not better. She had to move him. Now. Teresa tucked both babies carefully into her insulated delivery bag, zipping it halfway so they could breathe but stay warm. Their crying got a little quieter, muffled. She slung the bag across her chest, then grabbed the man under his arms. He was heavy, solid muscle, even unconscious. Her boots slipped on the bloody snow as she dragged him backward toward her van. "Come on," she grunted, pulling harder. "Don't you dare die on me." 10 feet felt like a mile. Her arms burned. Her back screamed. The babies squirmed against her chest, crying again. Finally, she reached her van. The back doors were already open from her last delivery. She'd been carrying furniture parts all day, so there was space. She propped the man against the bumper, grabbed his legs, and with a strength she didn't know she had, shoved him inside. He landed with a thud. Didn't even groan. Teresa climbed in after him, pulling the doors shut behind her. The wind immediately stopped. The sudden silence was shocking, just her ragged breathing and the soft whimpers of the babies. She unzipped the bag. 2 tiny faces stared up at her, red from crying. Girls, she thought. Maybe a few weeks old. They looked identical. "It's okay," she whispered, even though nothing about this was okay. "I've got you." She turned to the man. In the dim light from the street lamp outside, she could see him better now. Mid-30s maybe. Dark hair. Strong jaw. Handsome in a dangerous way. And those tattoos, they curved up his neck in patterns she didn't recognize. Definitely not random. This man was someone important. Someone powerful. And someone had tried very hard to kill him. Teresa pressed her fingers to his neck. Pulse was there but weak. Thready. His breathing was shallow. She grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight, then carefully peeled back his suit jacket. The white dress shirt underneath was soaked red. She unbuttoned it with shaking fingers. The stab wound was just below his rib cage on the left side. Deep. Professional. Whoever did this knew exactly where to stick a knife to make someone bleed out slowly. Okay, Teresa muttered. Okay, I can work with this. She'd done 2 years of pre-med before she'd run out of money. She'd worked in an ER for 6 months as a tech. She knew enough to keep someone alive. She just had to actually do it. Teresa climbed into the driver's seat, started the van, and cranked the heat. Then she dug through her delivery supplies. She had a first aid kit, basic stuff, but better than nothing. She had bottled water. She had the clean towels she used to protect fragile packages. And in the back, left over from this morning's shift, she had a bottle of vodka someone had ordered for a Christmas party. It would have to be enough. She climbed back to the man and got to work. She poured vodka over her hands, then over the wound. He jerked, gasping, eyes fluttering but not opening. I know it hurts, she said. But I need you to stay with me. She wadded up a towel and pressed it hard against the wound. Blood immediately soaked through. She pressed harder, using both hands, putting her weight into it. The babies started crying again, louder now. Not now, Teresa said through gritted teeth. Please, just not now. But they didn't stop. They were hungry probably. Or cold. Or scared. Hell, she was scared too. She kept pressure on the wound for what felt like forever, but was probably only 5 minutes. When she lifted the towel, the bleeding had slowed. Not stopped, but better. Teresa worked fast. She cleaned the wound as best she could with vodka and water. Then she used butterfly bandages from the first aid kit to pull the edges together. It wasn't stitches, but it would hold. She wrapped his entire torso with gauze and tape, tight enough to keep pressure, but not so tight he couldn't breathe. By the time she finished, her hands were covered in blood and she was shaking. The man's breathing had evened out. Still unconscious, but alive. For now. Teresa sat back against the van wall, exhausted. The babies were still crying, their tiny fists waving. She carefully lifted them out of the bag. They were so small. So perfect. Both had dark hair and those same dark eyes when they blinked up at her. Who are you? She whispered. And who's your daddy? As if in answer, the man groaned. His eyes opened, just a crack. The babies, he rasped. His voice was rough, broken. Don't let them. They're safe, Teresa said quickly. I have them. They're right here. His eyes focused on her. Really looked at her for the first time. There was something in that look, surprise maybe, or confusion, like he couldn't figure out why she'd helped him. You shouldn't have, he tried to say. Yeah, well, too late now. Teresa shifted one baby to her shoulder, rocking her gently. What's your name? His eyes closed again. For a second she thought he'd passed out. Then barely audible. Callisto. Okay, Callisto. I'm Teresa. She looked down at the babies. And who are these two? Mia. Sophia. His breathing was getting worse again. Please keep them safe. Then he was out cold. Teresa sat there in the back of her van, holding 2 newborn babies and sitting next to a dying mob boss on Christmas Eve, and realized her entire life had just changed forever. Merry Christmas to me, she whispered. Then she put the van in drive and headed home. Teresa's apartment was on the 3rd floor of a building that should have been condemned 10 years ago. No elevator, broken heater, and a landlord who only showed up when rent was late. But it was hers, and right now it was the only safe place she could think of. Getting Callisto up 3 flights of stairs was a nightmare. She'd parked in the alley behind the building where nobody would see her van. The babies were tucked back in the delivery bag, quiet now, probably exhausted from crying. Callisto was awake, but barely. He couldn't walk on his own. Come on, Teresa grunted, pulling his arm over her shoulder. Work with me here. He was trying. She could tell. His legs moved, sort of, but mostly she was dragging dead weight. By the second floor, her lungs were burning. By the third, she thought her legs might give out. Finally, they reached her door. She fumbled with her keys, got it open, and half-dragged, half-carried him inside. Her apartment was tiny. One room that served as bedroom, living room, and kitchen. A bathroom the size of a closet. A single window that looked out at a brick wall. She had a mattress on the floor, a folding table, and a hot plate. Her only decoration was a string of old Christmas lights she'd hung around the window. They blinked red and green, casting weird shadows. She lowered Callisto onto her mattress. He collapsed back, breathing hard, face gray with pain. The babies started crying again. Right, Teresa muttered. Babies. Food. Okay. She had no baby formula. No bottles. No diapers. Nothing. She had ramen, canned soup, and half a gallon of milk that might be expired. She set the delivery bag on her folding table and carefully lifted out both babies. They were squirming, faces red, mouths open in angry wails. I know, she said helplessly. I know you're hungry. Just give me a minute. She grabbed her phone and Googled what to feed newborn baby emergency. The results weren't helpful. Everything said to use formula or breast milk. Don't give them regular milk. Don't give them water. Call a doctor immediately. Great. Teresa looked at Callisto. Hey, where's their formula? Did you have a diaper bag or something? He didn't answer. His eyes were closed, breathing shallow. She checked the blankets the babies had been wrapped in. Nothing. No bottles, no supplies, nothing. Just two tiny humans who needed food and clean diapers, and she had no idea what she was doing. One of the babies, Mia or Sophia, she wasn't sure which, grabbed Teresa's finger with her tiny hand. The grip was surprisingly strong. Something in Teresa's chest cracked open. Okay, she whispered. Okay, we'll figure this out. She looked around her apartment. She had clean dish towels. She had safety pins. She could make temporary diapers. And for food, she'd have to go to the 24-hour convenience store on the corner. It was Christmas Eve, but Jimmy kept the place open every day of the year. But she couldn't leave Callisto alone. And she couldn't take the babies out into the cold again. She was trapped. Callisto's voice came out rough, top drawer. Teresa spun around. His eyes were open, barely watching her. What? My jacket. Inside pocket. He coughed, winced. Money. Take it. Get what they need. Teresa grabbed his blood-soaked jacket from where she'd dropped it by the door. The inside pocket had a wallet. She opened it. Her jaw dropped. There had to be $3,000 in cash. Maybe more. Crisp $100 bills. Take. Whatever you need, Callisto said. His eyes closed again. Just keep them safe. Teresa stared at the money, then at the man bleeding on her mattress, then at the two crying babies. This was insane. All of it. She grabbed $500 and shoved it in her pocket. Then she found her neighbor's number and called. Mrs. Chun answered on the third ring. Hello. Mrs. Chun, it's Teresa from 3B. I know it's late, but I need a huge favor. What's wrong? Can you watch my apartment for 20 minutes? I have to run to the store. It's an emergency. There was a pause. Mrs. Chun was 70 years old and didn't trust anyone. But Teresa had helped her carry groceries up the stairs a dozen times. Okay, Mrs. Chun said finally. But only 20 minutes. I'm missing my Christmas movie. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mrs. Chun arrived 5 minutes later in her bathrobe. She took one look at the crying babies and her eyes went wide. Then she saw Callisto on the mattress. Teresa. Please don't ask, Teresa said quickly. I'll explain later. Just don't let anyone in. And if he wakes up and tries to leave, don't let him. He'll bleed out. Mrs. Chun looked like she wanted to argue. But then one of the babies let out an extra loud wail, and she sighed. Go. Fast. Teresa ran. Jimmy's convenience was empty except for Jimmy himself, slumped behind the counter watching a small TV. He looked up when she burst through the door. Teresa? The hell you doing out in this weather? I need baby formula. Bottles. Diapers. Newborn size. Jimmy's eyebrows shot up. You have a baby? It's complicated. You have this stuff or not? Aisle 3. But I don't got much selection. I'll take whatever you have. She grabbed 2 containers of formula for bottles and the only package of newborn diapers on the shelf. Then she added baby wipes, a pack of onesies, and 2 pacifiers. At the counter, Jimmy rang everything up. That's $187.32. Teresa handed him $200 bills. Keep the change. His eyes went wide. You sure? Merry Christmas, Jimmy. She ran back to her apartment, supplies clutched to her chest. The whole trip took 18 minutes. When she opened her door, Mrs. Chun was sitting on the floor, rocking both babies. They'd stopped crying, and Callisto hadn't moved. He muttered something in Italian. Mrs. Chun said quietly. Sounded like names. And he kept saying Dante. Does that mean anything? Teresa's blood went cold. What else did he say? Something about their coming. Then he passed out again. Mrs. Chun stood up, carefully handing the babies back. Teresa, whoever this man is, he's trouble. I know. You should call the police. I can't. Mrs. Chun looked at her for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, but if you need help, real help, you knock on my door. Understand? Thank you, Mrs. Chun. After she left, Teresa locked the door and shoved her folding table in front of it. Not much of a barricade, but better than nothing. Then she got to work. She changed both babies. They were girls, definitely, and they looked identical. Twins. She warmed the formula like the instructions said and fed them one at a time. They drank hungrily, their tiny hands gripping the bottles. When they were fed and changed and finally quiet, she laid them in her laundry basket padded with clean towels. It wasn't a crib, but it would do. Then she turned to Callisto. His makeshift bandages were soaked through with blood. She needed to do better than butterfly bandages and gauze. Teresa dug through her closet and found her old pre-med textbook. She'd kept it even though she couldn't afford to finish school. She flipped to the section on emergency sutures. She didn't have proper medical supplies, but she had a sewing kit. She had fishing line from when she dated that guy who liked to fish. She had tweezers and rubbing alcohol. It would have to work. She sterilized everything in boiling water, then sat down next to Callisto. His eyes opened when she pulled away the bandages. This is going to hurt, she said. A lot. I don't have anything for the pain. He looked at her. Really looked at her. What's your name? Teresa. Teresa. He said it carefully, like he was memorizing it. Why are you helping me? She threaded the fishing line through the needle. Because those babies need you alive. And because I'm too stubborn to let someone die in front of me. Now hold still. She started stitching. Callisto didn't scream. He didn't even flinch. He just stared at her ceiling, jaw tight, breathing through his nose. You're good at this, he said after a while. I dropped out of medical school, Teresa said, focusing on keeping the stitches even. Ran out of money. That's why you were delivering packages. On Christmas Eve. Yeah, and you still helped me. She tied off the last stitch. Don't make me regret it. Callisto's hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. His grip was weak, but his eyes were intense. Listen to me, he said. My brother did this. Dante. He wants me dead. And he wants them. He nodded at the sleeping babies. Dead too. Why? Because they're the key to everything. His eyes started to close. Check their things. The locket. Find the locket. Then he was out again. Teresa looked at the twins sleeping peacefully in her laundry basket. 2 tiny babies, maybe 3 weeks old, and someone wanted them dead. She started going through the blankets they'd been wrapped in. And there, around one of the babies' necks, Sophia, she thought, was a delicate gold locket on a thin chain. Teresa carefully removed it and opened the locket. Inside wasn't a picture. It was a tiny microchip. Teresa stared at the microchip, her heart pounding. This tiny thing, smaller than her thumbnail, was what someone had tried to kill Callisto for. What they'd kill the babies for. What they'd kill her for now, if they found out she had it. She snapped the locket shut and put it back around Sophia's neck, tucking it under the baby's onesie where it wouldn't show. Outside, dawn was breaking. Christmas morning. She could hear church bells in the distance, faint through the snow. Somewhere, families were waking up, opening presents, drinking coffee. Normal people having a normal Christmas. Teresa looked around her apartment. A bleeding mob boss on her mattress. 2 newborn twins in a laundry basket. And her, covered in blood, holding stolen money and hunted by people she couldn't even imagine. Yeah, normal was over. She was exhausted. She hadn't slept in over 24 hours. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw that blood in the snow. Heard the babies crying. Felt Callisto's warning in her bones. They're coming. She needed coffee. She needed a plan. The sound of footsteps in the hallway made her freeze. Heavy footsteps. Multiple people. Coming up the stairs. Teresa's mouth went dry. Mrs. Chun lived on this floor, but she shuffled when she walked. These steps were purposeful. Hard. They stopped outside her door. She looked at Callisto. Still unconscious. Useless. The babies were asleep, thank God, but they could wake up any second. There was a knock. 3 hard raps. Teresa didn't breathe. Delivery, a man's voice called. Package for apartment 3B. It was Christmas morning. Nobody delivered packages on Christmas morning. Her hands started shaking. She looked around for anything she could use as a weapon. A kitchen knife. That was it. 1 dull kitchen knife against however many men were outside. The knocking came again, harder. Open up. We know you're in there. The babies stirred. One of them, Mia, made a small sound. The footsteps moved. Teresa heard whispering. Then, boss says break it down. Teresa grabbed the knife and ran to the laundry basket. She picked it up, babies and all, and shoved it into her tiny bathroom. She closed the door most of the way. Stay quiet, she whispered to them, knowing they couldn't understand. Please stay quiet. The front door exploded inward. Her folding table went flying. 2 men burst in, both wearing black coats, both with guns drawn. Teresa screamed and swung the knife wildly. She didn't think. Didn't aim. Just slashed at the closest man. The blade caught him across the arm. He yelled and stumbled back. She's armed, he shouted. The second man raised his gun at her. A shot rang out, but not from his gun. The man dropped, blood blooming on his chest. He hit the floor hard. Teresa spun around. Callisto was sitting up on the mattress, holding a gun she hadn't known he had. His face was white with pain, his hand shaking, but the gun was steady enough. The first man, the one she'd cut, raised his weapon at Callisto. Callisto fired again. The man went down. For a moment, there was just silence and gun smoke and 2 dead men on her floor. Then the babies started screaming. Go! Callisto gasped. Get them out of here. I can't leave you. There's more coming. He tried to stand, fell back. I can hear them on the stairs. Go! Teresa ran to the bathroom and grabbed the laundry basket. The babies were shrieking now, terrified by the gunshots. The fire escape, Callisto said, nodding at her window. Go now. What about you? He looked at her with those dark, dangerous eyes. I'll hold them off. Get my daughters to safety. You'll die. I'm already dead if they get that locket. He coughed, blood on his lips. Please. Teresa. Please. More footsteps thundered up the stairs. Lots of them. Teresa made a choice. She grabbed the car keys from Callisto's jacket, shoved them in her pocket, then ran to the window. The Christmas lights tangled as she tore them down. She threw the window open. Cold air and snow blasted in. The fire escape was old, rusty, covered in ice. She climbed out carefully, holding the basket with both hands. The babies screamed louder, hating the cold. Behind her, she heard men burst into her apartment. Heard Callisto's gunfire once, twice, 3 times. Heard shouting. Breaking furniture. More gunshots. She didn't look back. She climbed down the fire escape as fast as she dared. Her hands were numb. The metal was slippery. One wrong step, and she'd fall 3 stories with 2 babies. Second floor. First floor. Finally, she jumped the last few feet into the alley. Her van was still there, covered in snow. She fumbled with the keys, got the back doors open, and put the basket inside. Then she ran around to the driver's side. Men came pouring out of her building's front entrance. For 5, 6 of them. All armed. "There!" one shouted, pointing at her. Teresa's hands shook so hard she could barely get the key in the ignition. "Come on. Come on. Come on." The engine turned over. She threw the van in reverse and floored it. The tires spun on the ice, then caught. She shot backward out of the alley. A man ran in front of her, raising his gun. She didn't think. Didn't hesitate. She slammed her foot down harder. The impact was softer than she expected. A thud. Then he was gone, rolling away somewhere behind her. Teresa's stomach lurched. She'd just hit someone. Run over a person. Maybe killed him. No time. No time to think about it. She jerked the wheel, spun the van around, and accelerated down the street. In the rearview mirror, she saw men running after her. One raised his gun. The back window exploded. Glass rained down. The baby's screams reached a new pitch. "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," Teresa chanted, hunched over the wheel, pressing the gas pedal to the floor. She turned left, then right, then left again. The streets were empty. Everyone was inside celebrating Christmas. She drove randomly, no destination, just trying to lose them. After 10 minutes, she didn't see anyone following anymore. She pulled into an empty parking garage and killed the engine. Her whole body was shaking. She gripped the steering wheel so hard her knuckles were white. She'd just left Callisto to die. She'd run over a man. She was being hunted by people with guns. And she had 2 screaming babies in the back of her van on Christmas morning. Teresa put her head on the steering wheel and tried not to throw up. The babies kept crying. She forced herself to breathe. In. Out. In. Out. She couldn't fall apart. Not now. Those babies needed her. She climbed into the back. Mia and Sophia were both wailing, their faces bright red. She picked them up, one in each arm, and held them close. "It's okay," she whispered, even though it wasn't. "It's okay. I've got you." Slowly, their crying quieted to whimpers. They were cold. She wrapped them in her jacket, holding them against her body heat. She needed to think. She needed a plan. Callisto was probably dead by now. Those men had swarmed her apartment. Even if he'd held them off for a bit, he was too weak, too injured. He was gone, which meant she was alone with his daughters. With the locket. With whatever that microchip contained that was worth killing for. She had Callisto's wallet with the cash. She had his car keys, but what car did they go to? She had nothing else. No contacts. No safe place to go. No idea what to do next. Her phone buzzed. Teresa jumped. She pulled it out with shaking hands. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But something made her swipe to accept. "Hello. Teresa." It was Callisto's voice, rough and weak but alive. "Listen to me very carefully." Relief flooded through her so strongly her knees went weak. "You're alive." "Oh God, you're—" "I don't have much time," he interrupted. "They're searching the building. I got out through the basement. But I'm bleeding again. I need you to listen." "Okay." "In my wallet, there's a black card. Not a credit card. A key card. Behind it is an address written in pen." Teresa dug through his wallet with one hand, still holding the babies. She found it. A black key card with a magnetic strip. Behind it, written in small, neat handwriting, 2247 Industrial Way, Unit 12. "I found it. That's a storage unit. It has everything you need. Medicine, supplies, weapons, money. Get there. Wait for me." "What if you don't?" "I will." His voice was hard. "Certain. I'm not leaving my daughters." Not with Dante still breathing. In the background, she heard shouting. Men calling out, searching. "I have to go," Callisto said. "Teresa, thank you for saving them. For saving me." "Don't thank me yet," she said. "We're not safe. We will be." A pause. I promise you we will be. The line went dead. Teresa sat there, holding two babies, surrounded by broken glass, in a stolen moment of silence. Then she started the engine. She had an address. She had a plan. And against all logic, against everything that made sense, she believed him. She believed Callisto would survive. She believed he'd find them. She just had to keep his daughters alive until he did. Teresa pulled out of the parking garage and drove into the snowy Christmas morning, heading toward Industrial Way. The twins had finally stopped crying. Behind them, the city slowly woke up to sirens and chaos. But in the van, for just this moment, there was quiet. The storage facility was in the middle of nowhere, just flat, snow-covered fields and a few abandoned factories. Teresa almost missed the turn. The sign was rusted and half-buried in a snowdrift. Safekeep storage, 24-hour access. She pulled up to the gate. There was a keypad covered in ice. She wiped it off and held up the black card, looking for instructions. Nothing. Just the magnetic strip. She swiped it through the reader. The gate buzzed and rolled open. Teresa drove through slowly, checking her mirrors. Nobody behind her. Nobody anywhere. The place looked abandoned. Probably half the units were empty. Perfect for hiding things you didn't want found. Unit 12 was in the back corner. She parked the van in front of it and sat there for a moment, engine running, trying to decide if this was a trap. But Callisto had sounded desperate on the phone. Real. And she had nowhere else to go. The babies were asleep again, exhausted. She hated to wake them, but she couldn't leave them in the van. Not after everything. She tucked one under each arm, grabbed the key card, and got out. The cold hit her like a fist. Her thin jacket was still wrapped around the babies, so she was just in her blood-stained hoodie. Her teeth started chattering immediately. She swiped the card on Unit 12's door. It clicked open. Inside was dark. She felt along the wall and found a light switch. Fluorescent lights flickered on. Her jaw dropped. The unit was huge, bigger than her entire apartment. And it was packed with everything. One wall had metal shelves stacked with supplies. Canned food, bottled water, batteries, flashlights. Medical supplies in plastic bins. Real ones, professional stuff. Clean clothes in sealed bags. Baby formula. Diapers. Cases of them. Another wall had weapons. Guns in locked cases. Boxes of ammunition. Knives. Things she didn't even recognize. And in the back, there was a small living space. A cot with blankets. A camping stove. A mini fridge that hummed quietly. Even a portable heater. This wasn't just storage. This was a safe house. Teresa set the babies down on the cot, making a nest of blankets around them. They didn't wake up. She turned on the heater, and the temperature started to rise immediately. Then she just stood there, looking around, trying to process everything. Callisto had planned for this. He'd known something might go wrong. He'd prepared a place to hide, to survive, to fight back from. Which meant he'd been expecting betrayal. She found the medical supplies and grabbed what she needed. Antiseptic, real bandages, pain medication. Then she sat on the floor and finally let herself feel it. The fear. The exhaustion. The absolute insanity of the last 12 hours. She'd saved a mob boss. Killed a man, maybe. Run from people with guns. And now she was hiding in a storage unit with two babies that weren't hers, waiting for their father who might already be dead. Teresa put her face in her hands and tried not to cry. A sound made her look up. One of the babies, Sophia, the one with the locket, was awake, staring at her with those dark eyes. "Hey," Teresa whispered. "You okay?" Sophia just blinked. Then impossibly she smiled. Just a little one, probably gas, but it looked real enough. Something in Teresa's chest unclenched. "Yeah," she said softly. "We're going to be okay. Your dad's coming. He promised." She picked up Sophia, checked the locket was still there. It was, and held her close. Then her phone rang. Unknown number again. Her heart jumped. "Callisto." Not quite. The voice was smooth, cultured. "Dangerous. My name is Dante. I believe you have something of mine." Teresa's blood turned to ice. "I don't know what you're talking about." Please, don't insult my intelligence. A pause. You have my brother's bastards. And more importantly, you have the locket. I want both. Go to hell. Dante laughed. You've got spirit. I like that. Tell me, did Callisto mention me? Did he tell you I'm the one who put a knife in him? Teresa's grip tightened on the phone. He mentioned you're trying to kill babies. What kind of monster does that? The practical kind. His voice hardened. Those children are the only things standing between me and what's rightfully mine. And that locket contains access to everything, accounts, properties, connections. Without it, I'm nothing. With it, I'm the head of the Piazza family. So this is about money. This is about power. He said it like it was obvious. Something you clearly don't understand. But here's what you need to understand. I will find you. And when I do, I'll take what's mine. The only question is whether you die quickly or slowly. Big talk from someone who couldn't even kill one injured man. Silence. She'd hit a nerve. Callisto is resourceful, Dante said finally. I'll give him that. But he's bleeding out somewhere. Hours from death, if he's not dead already. Which means you're alone. No protection. No idea what you're doing. So here's my offer. Bring me the babies and the locket, and I'll let you walk away. $5 million. Cash. And your life. Teresa looked down at Sophia in her arms. At Mia sleeping on the cot. Two tiny, helpless lives. No, she said. Excuse me? I said no. These babies aren't things you can trade. They're people. And I'm not letting you touch them. Dante's laugh was cold. You're signing your death warrant. Get in line. She hung up. Her hands were shaking. She'd just made an enemy of a mob boss. A real one, not a half-dead man she'd saved out of guilt. But she'd meant what she said. She looked at the twins and felt something she hadn't felt in years, certainty. Purpose. These babies needed her. And she'd be damned if she let anyone hurt them. Teresa spent the next hour organizing. She fed and changed both babies. She ate some canned soup and drank water. She found clean clothes in one of the bags and changed out of her blood-stained hoodie. Then she started going through everything in the unit, taking inventory, learning what she had to work with. The weapons scared her. She'd never fired a gun in her life. But she pulled out one of the pistols, a Glock, the case said, and read the instruction manual that came with it. Safety on. Safety off. Load the magazine. Chamber around. Aim. Squeeze the trigger. Simple. In theory. She was practicing the motions, unloaded, safety on, when her phone rang again. Different number this time. Hello. Teresa. It was an older man's voice. Rough, friendly. My name is Marco. I'm an old friend of Callisto's. He called me, told me you might need help. Relief washed over her. Is he okay? Where is he? He's alive. Barely. I'm taking care of him. Marco paused. He's worried about you. About his girls. Said you're hiding somewhere but won't tell him where. Smart girl. I don't know who to trust. Fair enough. But you can't stay wherever you are forever. Dante's got eyes everywhere. He'll find you eventually. Another pause. I've got a place. A farm about 2 hours outside the city. Remote. Safe. Bring the babies here, and we can all wait this out together. Callisto should be strong enough to travel in a day or two. Teresa's instincts screamed caution. How do I know you're really Callisto's friend? You don't. But you don't have many options. Marco's voice was gentle. Look, I raised that boy. Changed his diapers. Taught him to shoot. I'm not going to let anything happen to his daughters. Or to the woman who saved his life. It made sense. Too much sense. But something felt off. She couldn't put her finger on it. Let me think about it, she said. Don't think too long. Dante's got people everywhere. Even the cops. Especially the cops. Marco gave her an address. When you're ready, come here. I'll keep the lights on. He hung up. Teresa sat there, staring at her phone. Everything Marco said made sense. She couldn't stay in a storage unit forever. The babies needed stability. And if Callisto was really there, recovering. But Dante had found her phone number somehow. Which meant her phone was compromised. which meant anyone who called her could be a trap. She looked at the address Marco had given her. It was in the opposite direction from the city. Rural. Isolated. Perfect for an ambush. Or perfect for hiding. She had no way to know which. The babies slept peacefully. Sophia's hand curled around Teresa's finger, trusting, innocent. Teresa made her decision. They'd stay here tonight. Rest. Recover. And tomorrow, she'd figure out if Marco was friend or enemy. But she'd do it smart. She'd do it armed. She loaded the Glock, chambered a round, and set it on the floor next to the cot. Then she lay down next to the babies and finally let herself sleep. Outside, the snow kept falling. And somewhere in the city, Dante was looking for them. The hunt was only just beginning. Teresa woke to the sound of crying. For a second, she didn't know where she was. Then it all came back, the storage unit, the babies, everything. She sat up, groggy. Mia was crying, her little face scrunched up and red. Sophia was still asleep somehow. Okay, Teresa muttered, picking Mia up. I've got you. She checked her phone. It was almost noon. She'd slept for 6 hours, the longest sleep she'd had in days. Her body ached everywhere, but at least her head was clearer. She fed Mia, changed both babies, and ate some crackers from the supplies. Then she sat on the cot and stared at her phone. Marco's address was still in her recent calls. She could be there in 2 hours. But something about that conversation still bothered her. Callisto had told her to come here to wait. He'd been specific. So why would he suddenly change the plan and send her to some farm? Unless he hadn't. Unless Marco was lying. Teresa pulled up her contacts and stared at the last call from Callisto. His real call from this morning. That number was different from Marco's. She took a breath and called it. It rang. And rang. And rang. No answer. Her stomach dropped. Either Callisto was too injured to answer, or he was dead, or... The phone buzzed in her hand. Text message. Same number. Can't talk. Men nearby. You safe? Relief flooded through her. He was alive. She texted back. Yes. Storage unit. Someone named Marco called. Says you sent him. True. The response came fast. Who is Marco? Her blood went cold. Old man. Says he's your friend. Has a farm. Wants me to bring the babies. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Trap. Don't go. Dante must have your number. Stay where you are. I'm coming. Teresa's hands shook as she typed. Are you okay? Been better. Lost a lot of blood. But I'm coming. 2 days max, don't trust anyone. She wanted to ask more. Where he was, how bad his injuries were if he needed help. But he'd said men were nearby. She couldn't risk it. Be careful, she texted. You too. Keep my girls safe. The dots disappeared. He was gone. Teresa set the phone down and looked at the babies. Sophia was awake now too, making little cooing sounds. Marco had been a trap. Dante had somehow gotten her number and used it to set her up. If she'd gone to that farm, she'd probably be dead right now. The babies too. Her phone rang. She looked at the screen. Marco again. She should ignore it. Block the number. But something made her answer. Hello. Teresa. Marco's friendly voice. Have you thought about my offer? Callisto's asking for his daughters. He wants to see them. Liar. I'm thinking about it, Teresa said carefully. Don't think too long. It's not safe where you are. Dante's people are everywhere. How did you get this number? A pause. Just a second too long. Callisto gave it to me. Like I said. Right. Teresa kept her voice neutral. Can I talk to him? Just to confirm. He's sleeping right now. The pain medication knocked him out. But I can have him call you when he wakes up. Sure. That would be great. Another pause. You don't trust me. I don't trust anyone right now. Marco's voice hardened. You should. Because you're out of your depth, girl. You think you can protect those babies? You don't know what you're dealing with. Dante will find you. And when he does, you'll wish you'd taken my offer. Who are you really? Teresa asked quietly. Someone who's trying to help you. No. You're one of Dante's men. He sent you to find me. Silence. Then Marco laughed. Smart girl. Smarter than I thought. Dante said you were just some delivery driver who got lucky. But you've got instincts. Is Callisto even alive? Oh, he's alive. For now. Dante's got people looking for him. Won't be long before they find him. Then those babies will be orphans. Unless you do the smart thing and give them to me. Never. Then you're condemning them to death. You understand that? You can't protect them forever. You're not trained for this. You're not built for this. You're going to make a mistake, and those babies will pay for it. Something in his words hit her. Because he was right, she wasn't trained. She wasn't a fighter. She was a broke delivery driver who couldn't even finish medical school. But she was also the only thing standing between these babies and a man who wanted them dead. Maybe you're right, Teresa said. Maybe I'm not built for this. But I'm all they've got. So I guess I'll figure it out. She hung up. Then she turned off her phone completely. If Dante could track her through it, she couldn't risk keeping it on. She was alone now. Really alone. No way to contact Callisto. No way to call for help. Just her and 2 babies in a storage unit waiting. 2 days. Callisto had said 2 days. She could last 2 days. The first day was okay. She had everything she needed, food, water, supplies. The babies were fed and clean. The heater kept them warm. She even found a small radio and played soft music to help them sleep. But by the second day, she was going stir-crazy. The storage unit felt smaller every hour. The walls pressed in. She kept hearing sounds, cars outside, footsteps, voices. Every sound made her jump, made her reach for the Glock. The babies picked up on her anxiety. They cried more, slept less. Mia especially was fussy, refusing to eat. Come on, sweetie, Teresa coaxed, trying to get her to take the bottle. Please, you need to eat. Mia just turned her head away and cried. Teresa wanted to cry too. She was exhausted. Scared, and still covered in dried blood she couldn't quite wash off with bottled water and paper towels. She looked at herself in the small mirror she'd found. She barely recognized the woman staring back. Wild hair, dark circles under her eyes, a hardness in her face that hadn't been there 3 days ago. 3 days. That's all it had been since she'd found Callisto bleeding in the snow. 3 days, and her entire life had been destroyed. No. Not destroyed. Changed. She looked at the babies. Mia had finally fallen asleep, her tiny chest rising and falling. Sophia was awake, watching Teresa with those serious dark eyes. Your daddy's coming, Teresa whispered. He promised. We just have to hold on a little longer. Sophia grabbed her finger and held on tight. That night, Teresa barely slept. She kept the Glock in her hand, safety off, ready. Every sound outside made her heart race. At 2 a.m., she heard a car pull up. Her whole body tensed. She moved to the small window, just a crack in the metal wall, and peered out. A black SUV. Headlights off. Just sitting there, engine running. Her heart hammered. They'd found her. The driver's door opened. A man got out, big, wearing a dark coat. He walked toward the unit slowly, deliberately. Teresa raised the gun. Her hands were shaking so bad she could barely aim. The man stopped at the door. Teresa. His voice was rough, familiar. It's me. Open the door. Callisto. She almost sobbed with relief. She set the gun down, ran to the door, and threw it open. Callisto stood there, leaning heavily against the door frame. He was pale, sweating, his shirt stained with fresh blood. But he was alive. And he was smiling. Told you I'd come, he said. Then his legs gave out. Teresa caught him before he hit the ground. Barely. He was so heavy, all muscle and dead weight. Help me, she gasped. Come on, you have to walk. He tried. Got one foot inside, then the other. Together they stumbled to the cot. He collapsed onto it, breathing hard. The girls, he said immediately. Where? They're fine. They're right here. Teresa pointed to the basket where they slept. Callisto's face transformed. All the hardness, the danger, the violence, it melted away. He reached out with a shaking hand and touched Mia's cheek so gently. My babies, he whispered. My beautiful girls. Tears ran down his face. Teresa had never seen anything like it. This man who'd killed multiple people without flinching was crying over his sleeping daughters. I thought I'd lost them, he said. When Dante attacked, when I couldn't protect them, I thought. You did protect them, Teresa interrupted. You kept them safe until I found you. And then you trusted me to keep them safe after. That's protection. He looked up at her. You saved us. All of us. You didn't have to. You should have walked away. But you didn't. I couldn't, she said simply. Why? She thought about it. About the real answer. Because I failed someone once. Watched them die when I could have helped. I couldn't do that again. Not to you. Not to them. Callisto reached out and took her hand. His grip was weak but warm. Thank you, he said. For everything. Teresa squeezed back. You can thank me when we're all actually safe. We will be. His eyes were fierce despite his weakness. I promise you, Teresa. We will be safe. I'm going to end this. Dante. The council. All of it. How? The locket. It's not just money and accounts. It's proof of everything. Who's loyal, who's been stealing, who's been making deals with enemies. Everything the council needs to see that Dante is the traitor, not me. So we show them the proof. We do more than show them. Callisto's smile was cold. We make them choose. Dante or me. Chaos or stability. War or peace. And if they choose him, they won't. He said it with absolute certainty. Because you're going to stand up there with me and show them exactly what Dante is willing to kill for. 2 innocent babies. And the woman who saved them. Teresa's heart skipped. Me. You're part of this now. Whether you wanted to be or not. His hand tightened on hers. And I want you to be. Not just because you saved us. But because you're strong. Smart. Brave. Everything I need. Everything they need. He looked at the babies, then back at her. Be with us, he said quietly. Really be with us. Not just until this is over. After too. Teresa's breath caught. Was he asking what she thought he was asking? I barely know you, she whispered. I know. But I see you. Really see you. His thumb stroked across her knuckles. You're not running. Everyone else runs from my world. But you're standing here, gun loaded, ready to fight for children that aren't even yours. That's everything. Teresa looked at Mia and Sophia. Then at Callisto, broken and bloody but still fighting. And she realized he was right. She wasn't running. She didn't want to run. Okay, she said. I'm in. All the way. Callisto pulled her down and kissed her. It was soft at first. Gentle. Then deeper. Desperate. Like they were both drowning, and this was air. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathing hard. We should get you cleaned up, Teresa said. That wound needs fresh bandages. Later, Callisto said. Right now I just want to hold you. Hold all of you. So they lay there on the narrow cot, Callisto, Teresa, and 2 sleeping babies between them. A family. Broken and hunted and absolutely insane. But a family. And tomorrow they'd face Dante together. They stayed in the storage unit for 3 more days while Callisto healed. Teresa changed his bandages twice a day, watching the wound slowly close. It wasn't pretty, she wasn't a real doctor, but it was working. He was getting stronger. Color returned to his face. He could stand without help, walk without falling. And in those 3 days, something shifted between them. It started small. His hand finding hers while he slept. Her head resting on his shoulder while they watched the babies. Quiet conversations in the dark about their lives before all this. She learned he'd never wanted this life. His father had forced it on him. The violence. The crime. The constant looking over your shoulder. I was going to leave, he told her on the 2nd night. Take the girls and disappear. Start over somewhere new. That's what the locket was for. Enough money to vanish forever. Why didn't you? Dante found out. He couldn't let me go. If I left, I'd take half the family's power with me. So he decided to kill me instead. Take the locket. Raise my daughters as his own or... He stopped, jaw tight. Or get rid of them. Teresa's arms tightened around Sophia, who was sleeping against her chest. He's not touching these babies. I know. Callisto looked at her with something like wonder. You're fiercer than half my soldiers. You know that. I'm terrified every second. That's what makes you fierce. You're scared, but you do it anyway. On the third night, he kissed her again. Deeper this time. His hands in her hair, her hands on his chest, careful of his wound. We shouldn't, she whispered against his mouth. You're still hurt. I don't care. He pulled her closer. I almost died without doing this. I'm not waiting anymore. They made love slowly, quietly, the babies sleeping inches away. It was awkward and beautiful and desperate all at once. Afterward, lying tangled together on the narrow cot, Callisto traced her face with his fingers. I love you, he said. Teresa's heart stopped. You can't. We barely know each other. I know everything that matters. You saved my life. You're protecting my daughters. You didn't run when you should have. His thumb brushed her cheek. That's all I need to know. This is crazy. Everything about this is crazy. He smiled. Might as well embrace it. Teresa kissed him instead of answering. Because he was right. And because somewhere in the last week, she'd fallen completely, impossibly in love with this dangerous man and his two perfect daughters. Her life before, the deliveries, the struggling, the loneliness, felt like a dream. This felt real. Raw and terrifying and real. I love you too, she whispered. God help me, I do. On the fourth morning, Callisto's phone rang. He'd turned it on for the first time since arriving. Immediately it buzzed with dozens of missed calls and messages. He scrolled through them, his face getting darker. What is it? Teresa asked. The council. They've called an emergency session. He looked up. For tomorrow. New Year's Eve. They're deciding who leads the family, me or Dante. That's good, right? You have the locket. You have proof. It's good if we can get there alive. Callisto scrolled through more messages. Dante's been spreading lies. Telling everyone I've gone insane. That I stole family assets and ran. That I'm working with rival families. But you have proof he's lying. Yes. But I have to present it in person. In front of the full council. He set the phone down. It's at the family estate. Dante's territory. He'll have men everywhere. Then we don't go. We have to. If I don't show up, they'll name him Don by default. And then he'll have all the family's resources to hunt us. We'll never be safe. The girls will never be safe. Teresa looked at Mia and Sophia, playing on a blanket on the floor. They were smiling now. Happy. Healthy. They had no idea their entire future was being decided. Okay, she said. So we go. We present the evidence. We win. It's not that simple. The council are old men. Traditional. They don't like change. Don't like weakness. Callisto stood pacing. And bringing you an outsider, a woman, that's going to make them angry. Then leave me here. No. He said it instantly, firmly. You're coming. You're part of this. And more than that, you're my proof. Proof of what? That I haven't lost my mind. That I'm thinking clearly. That I'm stronger with you than without you. He took her hands. They need to see that I'm not just surviving this war with Dante. I'm winning it. Because of you. Teresa's stomach fluttered. What if they don't accept me? They will. They have to. His grip tightened. Because you're not just my partner. You're going to be my wife. The world tilted. What? Callisto pulled something from his pocket. A ring. Simple gold band, no diamond. Probably something from the storage unit supplies. I know it's fast. I know it's insane. But I need you with me tomorrow. Really with me. As my equal. My partner. My future. He got down on one knee, right there on the concrete floor. Teresa Boatman, will you marry me? She couldn't breathe. This was crazy. They'd known each other less than a week. She'd been a delivery driver 7 days ago. But when she looked at him, really looked at him, she saw her future. Messy and dangerous and absolutely hers. Yes, she whispered. Yes, you insane man. I'll marry you. He stood and kissed her hard. The ring slid onto her finger. It fit perfectly. When they pulled apart, both babies were crying. like they knew something big had just happened. Teresa picked up Sophia while Callisto got Mia. They stood there, each holding a baby, wearing matching smiles. "Tomorrow we end this," Callisto said. "Tomorrow we take back my family." "Our family. Our family," Teresa repeated, testing the words. They felt right. They spent the rest of the day preparing. Callisto went through the weapons, choosing what to bring. He taught Teresa how to properly hold the Glock, how to aim, how to shoot if she had to. "Point and squeeze," he said, standing behind her, guiding her hands. "Don't jerk the trigger. Smooth pressure. I don't want to kill anyone. You won't have to. I'll have my men there. But just in case." He turned her to face him. "If it comes down to you or them, you choose you. Every time. Understand?" She nodded. They dressed carefully. Callisto in a clean black suit from the storage unit. Expensive. Intimidating. He looked like a Don again, not a wounded man. Teresa had a dress, simple, black, elegant. Also from the storage unit. Like Callisto had planned for everything. "How long have you been preparing this place?" she asked. 6 months. Since the twins were born. He adjusted his tie in the mirror. "I knew Dante would move against me eventually. I just didn't think it would be this soon. Or this violent. He tried to kill babies. He tried to kill the future. My daughters represent everything he's not. Legitimate, pure, worthy." Callisto turned to her. "That's why bringing them tomorrow matters. The council needs to see them. See what Dante was willing to destroy. We're bringing them into danger. We're showing the council what they'd lose if they choose wrong." His face was hard. "And we'll have protection. My men. The ones still loyal. How many is that?" "Enough." He didn't sound certain. That night they barely slept. They lay together on the cot, holding each other, the babies between them. "Whatever happens tomorrow," Callisto whispered, "know that you gave me something I thought I'd lost. Hope. A future." "We're going to win," Teresa said. "We have to. Even if we don't thank you. For everything. Stop talking like that. We're going to win. We're going to raise these girls together. We're going to be a family." He kissed her forehead. "You're right. We will." But she heard the doubt in his voice. And she made a decision. Tomorrow, she wouldn't just stand beside Callisto. She'd fight for him. For the babies. For this impossible family they'd built from blood and snow and desperation. She'd fight. And she'd win. Because failure wasn't an option anymore. They left at dawn on New Year's Eve. The storage unit had been their sanctuary, but now it felt like a prison. Time to face this. Time to end it. Callisto drove the SUV. Teresa sat in back with the babies in proper car seats Callisto had somehow acquired. They were dressed in matching white dresses, looking like angels. Around Sophia's neck, visible now, was the locket. "You sure about this?" Teresa asked as they pulled onto the highway. Callisto met her eyes in the rearview mirror. "No, but I'm doing it anyway. That seems to be our thing." He smiled. "It does." The family estate was an hour outside the city. A massive stone mansion on acres of land. As they approached, Teresa saw men everywhere, guards, soldiers, all watching. Callisto's jaw tightened. Dante's men. More than there should be. "Can we turn back?" "No. We're committed now." They pulled up to the main entrance. More men appeared, surrounding the car. Callisto rolled down his window. "I'm here for the council session," he said calmly. "As requested." One man, older, scarred, leaned down. "You were told to come alone." "I'm bringing my family." "That's non-negotiable." The man looked at Teresa and the babies. His expression softened slightly. "The council is waiting. Inside. 3rd floor." They parked and got out. Teresa carried Sophia. Callisto carried Mia. They walked toward the mansion together. Men stared. Whispered. Some looked hostile. Others looked curious. Hopeful, even. Maybe they weren't all Dante's. Inside, the mansion was decorated for New Year's. Gold and silver everywhere, champagne waiting. Like they were celebrating, not deciding someone's fate. They climbed the stairs. Callisto's hand found hers, squeezed once. "Whatever happens," he whispered, "I love you." I love you too. They reached the third floor. Double doors. 2 guards. The guards opened the doors. Inside was a long table. 12 old men sitting in judgment. And at the far end, smiling like a wolf, was Dante. Brother, Dante said. So glad you could make it. And you brought guests. How inappropriate. Callisto walked forward, head high. I brought my family, my daughters, and my future wife. The council members murmured, surprised. Teresa followed, trying not to shake. This was it. Time to fight. Time to win. The council chamber was silent except for the ticking of an old grandfather clock in the corner. 12 old men sat along the massive oak table, their faces carved from stone. They wore expensive suits, had rings on every finger, and looked at Teresa like she was dirt on their shoes. Dante stood at the far end, relaxed, confident. He'd changed since the photo Teresa had seen in Callisto's wallet. He was handsome, same dark hair, same strong jaw, but there was something cold in his eyes. Empty. You brought a woman to council, one of the old men said. His nameplate read Salvatore Consigliere. And children. This is disrespectful, Callisto. Disrespectful as trying to murder me and my infant daughters on Christmas Eve. Callisto shot back. He set Mia's car seat on the table. Teresa did the same with Sophia. Disrespectful is stabbing your own brother in the street like a dog. Dante spread his hands innocently. I have no idea what you're talking about. I've been here, conducting family business while you disappeared with our assets. Liar, Teresa said. Every head turned to her. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Excuse me? Salvatore's voice was ice. Who are you to speak here? My name is Teresa Boatman. I'm the woman who saved Callisto's life. And I'm the witness to everything Dante did. A witness? Dante laughed. You're a nobody. A delivery driver. You have no credibility here. I have more credibility than a man who tried to kill babies. Teresa's voice shook, but she kept going. I found Callisto bleeding to death in the snow. He had a stab wound. He told me everything before he passed out. How you attacked him. How you wanted the locket. How you wanted these innocent children dead. Lies, Dante said smoothly. My brother is paranoid. Unstable. He's been making wild accusations for months. Now he's dragged some poor woman into his delusions. Then explain the wound, Callisto said, unbuttoning his shirt. He pulled it open, revealing the fresh scar Teresa had stitched. Explain why I was left to die. Explain why your men attacked the woman who saved me. Twice. Murmurs around the table. The old men were listening now. Anyone could have attacked you, Dante said. You have enemies. We all do. But blaming me without proof is. I have proof. Callisto nodded to Teresa. Her hands shook as she lifted Sophia from the car seat. The baby had been so quiet, staring at everyone with those serious dark eyes. Teresa carefully removed the locket from around her neck and held it up. This, she said, is what Dante wanted. What he was willing to kill for. Dante's face went pale. Just for a second. Then the mask was back. That's a family heirloom. It belongs to all of us. No, Callisto said. It belongs to my daughters. My father gave it to me before he died. Told me it contained everything. All the family's secrets, all the accounts, all the proof of who's loyal and who's not. He took the locket from Teresa and opened it. The tiny microchip gleamed under the chandelier light. There's a reason Dante wants this so badly, Callisto continued. It's not just money. It's evidence. Evidence of what he's been doing behind the council's back. Salvatore leaned forward. What evidence? Callisto pulled out a laptop from the bag he'd brought. He inserted the microchip into a reader and opened files. The screen lit up with documents, spreadsheets, emails. For the last 2 years, Dante has been embezzling from family accounts. Small amounts at first, then larger. He's got a secret account in the Cayman Islands with over $20 million. Dante's jaw tightened. That's a lie. Is it? Callisto turned the laptop so the council could see. Here's the account number. Here's the transaction history. Every penny traced back to him. The old men crowded around the screen, reading, murmuring. There's more, Teresa said. She'd read through everything last night while Callisto slept. He's been meeting with the Rossi family. Your rivals. Planning to give them territory in exchange for their support when he takes over. That's insane, Dante said. But sweat was beading on his forehead now. Callisto clicked through more files. Emails between Dante and Rossi underbosses. Photos of secret meetings. Recorded phone calls. You were going to sell us out, Salvatore said quietly. The old man looked at Dante with something like sadness. I raised you, boy. Taught you everything. And this is what you do. They're fabricating evidence. Dante slammed his fist on the table. Can't you see? Callisto wants power. He's desperate. He'll say anything. The evidence is real, Teresa interrupted. I saw the files. I heard your man Marco on the phone, trying to trap us. I watched your soldiers try to kill us. Multiple times. This isn't paranoia. This is fact. And who are you to determine what's fact? Another council member, younger, harder, glared at her. You're not family. Not blood. You have no right to speak here. She has every right. Callisto moved to stand beside Teresa. She saved my life. She protected my daughters when I couldn't. She's risked everything to help us. That makes her family. She's an outsider, the man insisted. This is family business. Then make her family, Callisto said. He took Teresa's hand, showed them the ring on her finger. She's my fiancée, soon to be my wife. That makes her part of the Piazza family. Whether you like it or not. The room erupted. Half the council shouted their objections. The other half seemed uncertain. Enough! Salvatore's voice cut through the chaos. The room fell silent. This is highly irregular. But these are irregular times. He looked at Teresa. Tell me, girl. Why did you help him? Really? Was it money? Fear? What? Teresa thought about lying. Making herself sound noble. But these men would see through that. At first, she said honestly, I helped because I couldn't watch someone die. I'm a failed pre-med student. I couldn't save someone once before, and it haunts me. So when I saw Callisto bleeding out with 2 babies in his arms, I had to help. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't. And after? Salvatore pressed. Why stay? Why fight for him? Teresa looked at Callisto. At the babies. At this impossible family she'd somehow become part of. Because they needed me, she said simply. And because somewhere along the way I fell in love. With him. With these babies. With the idea that maybe I could be part of something bigger than myself. Something worth fighting for. She turned back to the council. You want to know if I'm worthy of this family? If I deserve to be here? I don't know. I'm nobody. I was nobody. But I've killed for these babies. I've run from men with guns. I've stitched wounds and changed diapers and done everything I could to keep them alive. So maybe I'm not blood. Maybe I'm not Italian. Maybe I'm not what you expected. But I'm here. And I'm not leaving. The room was silent. Then Salvatore smiled. Just a little. You have fire, girl. I like that. This is ridiculous. Dante exploded. You're going to let some woman dictate family policy? She's manipulating him. Can't you see? What I see, Salvatore said coldly, is evidence of your betrayal. What I see is you trying to murder your brother and his children. What I see is a man who's put his own ambition above family loyalty. You can't prove I did anything. We can. Callisto pulled up one final file. A video. Security footage from the attack. From a camera you didn't know about. He hit play. The screen showed a snowy street. Christmas Eve. And there was Dante, holding a knife, standing over Callisto's bleeding body. Reaching for the babies. The video was grainy but clear enough. Dante's face went white. That's been doctored. Fake. Anyone can fake a video. It's authenticated, Callisto said. Time-stamped. Verified. You tried to kill me, brother. And you tried to kill my daughters. Your own nieces. The council members looked at Dante with disgust now. Even the ones who'd supported him seemed repulsed. The penalty for killing family, Salvatore said slowly, is death. Dante's hand moved toward his jacket. toward the gun Teresa knew he had to be carrying. But Callisto was faster. His gun was out, aimed steady. "Don't," Callisto said quietly. "Please don't make me do this." Dante's hand froze. For a moment, the brothers stared at each other. Teresa saw something pass between them, grief, maybe, or regret. Then Dante smiled. That cold, empty smile. "You won't shoot me. You're too weak. Too soft. That's why Father never wanted you to lead." "Father is dead," Callisto said. "And I'm stronger than you ever gave me credit for." "Prove it." Dante's hand moved. The gunshot was deafening in the enclosed room. Dante dropped, blood spreading across his expensive suit. He hit the floor hard, gasping, eyes wide with shock. The babies started screaming. Teresa grabbed both car seats, holding them close, shushing them desperately. Callisto stood over his brother, gun still raised. "I gave you a chance. You chose this." Dante tried to speak. Blood bubbled from his mouth. Then his eyes went blank and he was gone. The room was silent except for the babies crying and the ticking clock. Salvatore stood slowly. "It's done, then. Dante Piazza is dead. The traitor is eliminated." He looked around at the other council members. "All in favor of Callisto Piazza as Don?" 11 hands rose. Unanimous. "Then it's decided." Salvatore approached Callisto. "Don Piazza, may you lead us better than your brother would have." He kissed Callisto on both cheeks. One by one, the other council members did the same. Then Salvatore turned to Teresa. "And you, La Dottoressa, the woman who saved our Don. Welcome to the family." He kissed her cheeks too. It felt like being branded. Claimed. She was one of them now. For better or worse. They left the estate as the sun was setting. New Year's Eve. In a few hours, the city would celebrate. Fireworks. Champagne. New beginnings. Teresa sat in the back of the SUV, holding both babies. They'd finally stopped crying, exhausted from everything. Callisto drove in silence. His hands were steady on the wheel, but she could see the tension in his shoulders. "Are you okay?" she asked quietly. "I killed my brother. He tried to kill you first. And the babies." "I know." His voice was flat. "It had to be done. But that doesn't make it easier." Teresa reached forward and touched his shoulder. "I'm sorry. Don't be. You saved us. All of us." He glanced at her in the mirror. "You were incredible in there. The way you stood up to them. The way you fought for us. I meant what I said. I'm not leaving. Even now? Even knowing what my life is really like. Especially now." Callisto pulled over. Turned around to face her. His eyes were wet. "I love you," he said. "More than I thought I could love anyone. You and these babies, you're my whole world now." "I love you too," Teresa whispered. They kissed over the center console, awkward and perfect. When they pulled apart, Sophia was awake, watching them with those knowing eyes. "She likes you," Callisto said. "Good. Because I'm her mom now." The words felt right. True. She was their mom. She was Callisto's wife. She was part of this family. And tomorrow, they'd start their new life together. But tonight, they'd celebrate. Not Dante's death. Their survival. Their love. Their future. Spring came early to Chicago that year. Teresa stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse, watching the city wake up below. The snow was gone. Trees were budding green. The sun was actually warm for the first time in months. It felt like a different world from that Christmas Eve night. She looked down at the photo in her hand, the only one she'd kept from her old apartment. Mrs. Chun had taken it on her phone the morning after, before everything exploded. Callisto unconscious on the mattress. The babies in a laundry basket. Teresa looking exhausted and terrified and so young. 3 months ago. It felt like a lifetime. "You're up early." She turned. Callisto stood in the doorway, shirtless, hair messy from sleep. The scar on his side had faded to a thin white line. "You'd barely notice it now unless you knew to look." "Couldn't sleep," she said. He crossed the room and wrapped his arms around her from behind, resting his chin on her shoulder. "Bad dreams?" "No. Good ones, actually." She leaned back into him. That's what's weird. I keep expecting to wake up back in my old apartment. Broke. Alone. Like all of this was just a fantasy. It's real. He kissed her neck. We're real. The ring on her finger caught the morning light. Not the simple gold band from the storage unit that had been replaced 2 weeks ago with something proper. A diamond so big it was almost embarrassing. She'd tried to refuse it, but Callisto had insisted. You're La Daughteressa now, he'd said. The Don's wife. You need to look the part. La Daughteressa. The doctor. That's what everyone called her now. The family soldiers, the legitimate business partners, even the old council members. It had started as a joke, a reference to how she'd saved Callisto's life. But it had stuck, become something more. She was the doctor, the healer, the one who fixed things. And in the 3 months since New Year's Eve, she'd fixed a lot. The family's legitimate businesses had been a mess. Dante had been skimming from everywhere, restaurants, construction companies, real estate holdings. Teresa had gone through every account, traced every dollar, and restructured everything. Her pre-med training hadn't prepared her for business management, but her stubbornness had. She'd learned fast. Now the Piazza family was thriving. Legitimate profits were up. The illegal operations were being slowly phased out, Callisto's decision, not the council's. He wanted something better for his daughters. Something they could be proud of. Where are the girls? She asked. Still sleeping. Finally. Callisto chuckled. Mia was up half the night. I think she's teething. I'll check on her after breakfast. It still amazed her how natural this felt. Being a mother. Being a wife. Being part of this world that should have terrified her. Sometimes it still did. Late at night, when Callisto came home with blood on his shirt or tension in his jaw, she remembered what he really was. What they really were. But then she'd see him with the babies, so gentle, so loving. And she'd remember the other side too. The man who'd protected his daughters with his dying breath. The man who'd chosen her when he could have had anyone. Teresa. His voice was serious now. There's something I need to tell you. Her stomach tightened. What? The council wants to make it official. Our marriage. They want a ceremony. Big, traditional, the whole family there. He turned her to face him. I know that's not what we planned. But it's important to them. Important for stability. When? Next month. June. They're already planning it. He searched her face. I told them I'd ask you first. If it's too much, if you're not ready. I'm ready. And she meant it. Let's do it. Let's make it official. His smile was brilliant. Yeah. She kissed him. Besides, I want the girls to see us get married. Even if they're too young to remember. Speaking of the girls, a cry came from the nursery. Sophia, by the sound of it. She had a distinctive wail, higher pitched than her sisters. I've got her, Teresa said. You make coffee. Strong coffee. Deal. She walked down the hallway, their hallway in their home, and pushed open the nursery door. The room was painted soft yellow, with 2 cribs, shelves full of toys, and a rocking chair by the window. Nothing like the laundry basket and storage unit from before. Sophia stood in her crib, holding the bars, tears streaming down her face. When she saw Teresa, she reached up. Mama. Teresa's heart melted. Every single time. Hi, baby girl. She picked her up. What's wrong? Did you have a bad dream? Sophia just buried her face in Teresa's neck and held on tight. Mia stirred in the other crib but didn't wake. She'd been the fussy one lately, while Sophia had been clingy. They were developing such different personalities already. Teresa carried Sophia to the rocking chair and sat down. Through the window, she could see the city spreading out below, the same city where she'd been delivering packages just months ago, where she'd been nobody. You know what, Sophia? She whispered. Your mama used to be really scared. Of everything. Of failing. Of being alone. Of never matching. Sophia looked up at her with those serious dark eyes. So much like Callisto's. But then I found your daddy in the snow. And everything changed. He gave me a family. A purpose. A life worth living. She kissed Sophia's forehead. So thank you for that. For letting me be your mama. Sophia smiled and grabbed Teresa's finger. That same grip from the storage unit. Trusting. Strong. Footsteps in the doorway. Callisto stood there with 2 mugs of coffee, watching them. "How long have you been standing there?" Teresa asked. "Long enough." He handed her a mug. "You're good at this. Being a mom. Being with us. I'm figuring it out as I go. That's all any of us can do." He sat on the floor beside the rocking chair, sipping his coffee. "I've been thinking about what you said. About the council. About the family. What about them? You were right. We need to change. Not just the business side, everything. The violence. The old ways. I want Mia and Sophia to grow up in something better. Something they can be proud of. That's going to be hard. The old guard won't like it. I know. But I'm the Don now. And you're La Daughteressa. Together, we can do this." He looked up at her. "We can build something new. Something that honors the family, but doesn't trap us in the past." "A family business," Teresa said. "Actual family. Not just crime." "Exactly." Mia woke up then, crying loudly. Callisto stood immediately. "My turn." He lifted Mia from her crib, and the crying stopped instantly. She looked at him and broke into a huge, toothless smile. "There's my girl," he cooed. "There's my beautiful Mia." Teresa watched him, this dangerous man who'd killed his own brother, now making silly faces at his baby daughter, and felt overwhelming love. This was her family, broken and strange and built from desperation and blood. But hers. "We should take a photo," she said suddenly. "All 4 of us. For the future. So we can remember this moment. The moment we were all together. Finally safe. The moment we became a real family." Callisto grabbed his phone. They squeezed together, him holding Mia, her holding Sophia, both babies between them. He held the phone out and snapped the picture. When he showed it to her, Teresa's breath caught. They looked happy. Really, genuinely happy. The kind of happiness she'd thought only existed in movies. "I'm going to print this," she said. "Put it on my desk. So when things get hard, I can remember why we're doing this." "Things will get hard," Callisto warned. "This life, it's not easy. There will be challenges. Threats. People who want what we have. I know. But I'll protect you. All of you. I promise. I know that too." She kissed him, careful of the babies between them. "And I'll protect you right back. That's what family does." They spent the rest of the morning together. Breakfast in the kitchen. Real kitchen, massive and modern. Playing with the babies on the living room floor. Normal things. Simple things. The kind of things Teresa had dreamed about in her old life, but never thought she'd have. Around noon, Callisto's phone rang. Business. Always business. "I have to take this," he said apologetically. 15 minutes tops. "Go. We're fine." He disappeared into his office. Teresa gathered both babies and took them to the window. "See the city down there?" she said to them. "That's where I found your daddy. In the snow. On Christmas Eve. The worst night of my life that became the best night of my life." She thought about that night often. How terrified she'd been. How close they'd all come to dying. How one choice, to stop, to help, to not run away, had changed everything. "I don't know what the future holds," she continued. "But I know we'll face it together. Your daddy, me, and you too. A family. A real family." Both babies watched her like they understood. Like they knew how much this meant. When Callisto came back, he found them still at the window, watching the city wake up below. "Everything okay?" Teresa asked. "Perfect. Just some business with the council. Nothing urgent." He wrapped his arms around all 3 of them. "Have I told you today that I love you? Once or twice? Well, I'm telling you again. I love you, Teresa Piazza. I'm not officially Piazza yet. Not until the wedding. You've been Piazza since the moment you saved my life. The wedding is just a formality." She leaned into him, feeling safe. Loved. Home. Outside, the city continued its endless rhythm. But up here, in this moment, time seemed to stop. A family. Against all odds. Built from desperation and blood and a choice made in the snow. Teresa had been nobody 3 months ago. a delivery driver barely making rent. Now she was La Dottoressa, the Don's wife, a mother to two beautiful girls, a force in the Piazza family. She'd found her purpose, her place, her power, and she'd found love. Real, messy, complicated, beautiful love. The snow had melted. Spring had come. And Teresa Boatman, no, Teresa Piazza, had finally come home. The end. Thank you so much for watching Teresa and Callisto's story. Your support means the world to me. Every read, every moment you spent with these characters truly matters. If you enjoyed this journey from that desperate Christmas Eve to their hard-won family, please subscribe for more stories like this. I pour my heart into creating these tales of love, redemption, and second chances, and knowing you're there watching makes all the difference. Wishing you a blissful Christmas ahead, filled with warmth, love, and perhaps a little magic of your own. May your holidays be merry and your new year bright.